Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. It's time that we finally get back to the 2019 lineup from Schleich, as they just now released their second wave of figures for this year. And this is the wave of figures that I was actually looking forward to a lot more than the first wave, because I really feel like the initial wave from Schleich this year was kind of a letdown. It was a lot of repaints and stuff and things we just weren't really all that interested in. They did have some fun stuff, but this second wave of figures is what I was really quite excited for. Honestly, there's 4 new ones. I only bought 3 because I think the Plesiosaurus looks just beyond bad. So as of right now, I have no intentions of actually getting hold of the Plesiosaurus. Again, my opinions could change if I see it in person, or if you guys really want to see a review on it, then I'll pick it up just to review for you guys. But as of this time, I really think it looks quite hideous, and not something I'm going to pursue. But this figure here was one that I think I was the most excited for out of all of the Schleich 2019 figures, and this is their Diabloceratops, and it is just absolutely gorgeous looking in person straight away. It's a little smaller than I expected it to be, but it's still really, really nice. At first glance here, I think the paint all looks really beautiful, very natural. I think the sculpt also looks fantastic, so I'm a little bit too excited. Cannot wait any longer. Let's get a closer look at it. So starting up here at the head, you can see that the head sculpt is really beautifully done. Lots of incredible detail and scaling going on all throughout, not only the face area, but also up here on the frill. I think that the sculpt work pretty much everywhere I see is exactly what I expect out of Schleich nowadays, because they honestly do just an amazing job when it comes to the very small, minute detailing of their figures. You can see right here, almost like right under where the horns are in between, the scaling is so incredibly nice. There are so many different sized scales, and it really helps to just make this look so much better than it already does. I honestly almost feel like Schleich is underrated, because they've released quite a few kind of bad looking dinosaurs like the Acrocanthosaurus and some of their old somewhat feathered velociraptors, and there was a few that were kind of bad, and now they've just kind of been given this stereotype that they're not as good as you think they are. But look at this Diabloceratops. You cannot look at this and not think, man, that is an unbelievable looking ceratopsian. This one easily has just become my favorite Schleich ceratopsian that I have. The detail up here on the beak also looks really quite incredible. Nicely painted tongue in there with a beautiful pinkish type of a coloration, a very realistic coloration. The nostrils are nicely sculpted, and again, if you look all around, the scaling all over the face looks just absolutely gorgeous as well. The paint on the eye looks to be done really nicely. It's a yellow color with a black pupil. Has a very realistic gloss. As I turn it, you can see it glisten in the light. I also really like the paint application here of the head. I think that's such a very cool looking design that they've come up with, but at the same time, it's a very, very realistic appearance to it. Something I could definitely see a Diabloceratops being. I feel like a lot of the time, companies kind of make the ceratopsians have a little bit of a brighter head, and in the frill area specifically, and something that I could not see it really being. It looked cool half the time, but sometimes it's just a little too bright and a little too flashy and not very realistic. However, what I'm seeing here on this Schleich Pentaceratops, I feel like could 100% be the realistic coloration of a Diabloceratops. So they've done a great job on the paint application, and it all looks really, really natural. It's all beautifully applied. You cannot tell that it's just paint on a figure. It honestly looks like the body color of this animal. So Schleich should be commended on just how beautiful the paint application is, even including this yellow up here on the frill area. I think just looks fantastic. The horns themselves also look beautiful. You get in here, because the horns are a dark black, you really can't pick up on the detail quite as well as you could if it was a different lighter coloration, but it really does have some very nice sculpt and detail within the horns. Even up here in these horns, you can see there are just all sorts of cracks and crevices all throughout. And again, maybe a dark wash of like a brown, or even a light brown actually, would really bring out the detail beautifully in there. But it does look really, really nice on this figure. As you move down into the neck, you can see some very nice hanging skin here in the throat area. Beautiful chest muscles here. As you move up here, you can see the shoulder blade. You can actually get a really good idea of it right here. If you look up from down here in this low area, and then you come up and turn it, you can see that the shoulder blade is really nicely protruding from the skin. I love the wrinkling of the skin all over the place, especially right here. You can kind of see the skin kind of stretching in the throat area because this leg is pulling back and stretching the skin really realistically right there. Also in this general area, really giving you a great idea of the motion of the dinosaur and the movement of the dinosaur because the leg is pushing back into the skin of the stomach. That looks very realistic the way that's been sculpted. Really nice musculature here in the legs as well. I love that the feet taper off to like a light white almost in the bottom of the feet. Beautifully painted nails also. Great creasing in the joint of the front leg here. Really nice skin texture. Look at how unbelievable the scales are sculpted out on this. It just looks unbelievable to me. Nicely done as far as adding in osteoderms here and there as well for a little bit of extra realism on the figure. And this striping that they've done also looks really nice. It's beautifully applied, looks very natural also. And the body in general is like a mixture of a few different, very similar shades of brown, but it gives it a really realistic appearance as far as skin tone goes. Once again, with this leg here, you can see it pushing into the stomach, and the skin appears to be reacting in a very realistic way with the way it's been sculpted out, kind of bunching up. And then up here you can see the hip bone is protruding from the skin a little bit. Beautifully defined musculature in the thigh, nice calf muscles and kneecaps here in the front. Really beautiful sculpt work all the way down to the foot. And again, the nails are painted perfectly, it appears. Really nicely done there. And then you come up here and you can see the skin stretching a little bit as this leg is moving forward here from the tail. And the tail also has some fantastic skin texture here as you run out the length of the tail. It's in a very nice curve, very realistic positioning of the tail as well. If we look at the opposing side, you can again see that the eye is painted perfectly on this side, as is the paint application. Everywhere you look on this figure, it honestly is just stunning with the way the paint has been applied. And again, there's that hanging skin in the throat. You can once again pick up on the bone structure here of the dinosaur in the shoulder area, protruding from the skin a little bit. I really love the way the skin is being stretched here as the Diabloceratops is taking a step forward, kind of trotting along. It kind of just appears that maybe he's almost in mid-stride, like he's about to start running, with the way the skin is really reacting to the movement of the dinosaur. Again, some nice osteoderms here and there, all the way up here into the stomach. Beautiful creases all over the skin as far as the movement. Again, really nicely being portrayed of the dinosaur. It's got a little bit of a belly on him, so you can see that he's pretty nicely fed. Beautiful skin stretching and skin folding here in the rear leg, again as this leg is pulling back and stretching the skin. You can once again, as I turn this, really get an idea of the bone structure of the dinosaur itself as well. Beautiful musculature here in the leg, nice hip bone up here at the top, really beautiful calf muscle, and you can also take note of the kneecap there. Very nice looking foot sculpt, and again the nails are painted pretty nicely. This one's a little bit iffy, but for the most part they do look really beautiful, and even the dew claws are painted, which is a huge plus in my opinion. And then you can see that there are a few wrinkles of skin right here behind the thigh, and then it runs out here into the tail. The tail looks fantastic. The skin texture, paint application, everything just looks beautiful. Even the underside looks fantastic as far as the sculpt and detail goes, the upper side as well. So this is a beautiful rendition of a Diabloceratops. As far as a size goes on this 2019 Schleich Diabloceratops, from the snout here, if you go to the tail, you're looking at about 6 inches pretty much on the dot, or a little over 15 centimeters. And for a height, the highest point is probably going to be that horn there, actually the rear horn it looks like, and you're looking at about 3¼ inches, or about 8½ centimeters, somewhere in that area. For a size comparison, there is the Papo T-Rex, and you now should get a good idea of what I was saying earlier when I said that this figure is a little bit smaller than I expected. You can see next to the Papo Rex that it does look really quite small, and it is kind of shockingly small for Schleich, but I think that they've just crammed so much unbelievable detail and beautiful paint application in this that it honestly looks just as good being this smaller stature than it would even if it was larger. I think they've done a great job on this, and I really still love it, even with the smaller size. I also forgot to mention the fact that if you look at it, they've included that beautiful, very trademark Schleich wash that really makes the dinosaurs look a lot more darker and realistic, and I really love that as well. But again, our Paporex buddy here giving us an idea of the size of this Diabloceratops. So this 2019 Schleich Diabloceratops is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Honestly, it's even better in person than I expected it to be. And the promotional images really had me hyped for it. I thought it looked just totally unbelievable. Even better than the normal Schleich figure. And that's exactly the same feeling that I get when I see it here in person, if not a little bit more as far as excitement goes, because it really is just fantastic looking. I keep using that word, but that is exactly how I would describe this Pentaceratops. The overall appearance of it is very natural in the pose. The pose that they chose to go with, I feel like it's kind of starting to maybe get ready to run, and it's about to start to gallop. It's kind of just in a almost like a trotting stance at this point, but maybe it's just casually walking. It kind of appears to almost be casually walking from this side, but then if you turn it around, now it kind of looks like it's about to start running. I don't know. Regardless, that's sort of the feeling I get. I think the sculpt of this is just beautiful. It is an incredible rendition of a Diabloceratops with a beautiful sculpt, lots of just unbelievable detail. The detail as far as the minute sculpt work goes all throughout the area of the dinosaur, showing the movement and everything with the skin wrinkling, is just very realistically done. It looks exactly like what I would expect it to look like when it comes to the movement being portrayed in the sculpt. All of the scaling and everything also looks really, really nicely done. Lots of different sized scales, and I cannot even begin to fathom just how long it took to sculpt out this Diabloceratops. As I said previously, the paint application is really well done as well. It honestly looks exactly like body color. Everything has been applied so beautifully and so realistically that it is really impressive just to sit here and look at how unbelievably good of a job Schleich did on the paint of this figure. So this is without question a complete win and is easily my favorite figure of the 2019 lineup from Schleich. Without question, it is just that beautiful. So if you want to pick up this 2019 Schleich Diabloceratops, I will throw a link to Amazon.com or EverythingDinosaur.com. Either of those two websites, you can pick this guy up for yourself, and I highly recommend this figure because it is gorgeous in person. So go ahead, follow those links, go pick up this unbelievable Diabloceratops from Schleich, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.